Good morning. Welcome to the AirstreamChronicles.com or livingintin.com. I'm Rich, and I just wanted to do a quick edit for you to show you why when I'm traveling, I shoot in RAW all the time. I don't shoot JPEGs at all, so I'm using a Canon 5D Mark II and a Canon 7D, and we're starting to integrate a little old Canon G11 in as well. And so while we were at Rusty's RV Ranch in Rodeo, New Mexico, we had a crazy windstorm and dust storm, and I was outside shooting handheld, bad plan, and trying to set up for some HDRs. And this is actually an underexposed shot, but what I liked about it, there wasn't a lot of handshake in it from the wind blowing and things, so when you're shooting in RAW, you're keeping all of your color information. Shooting in JPEG loses a lot of that information, but it does give you better compression. But so with Lightroom and RAW images, I can actually do a lot to recover a poor image. Because let's face it, looking at this image, I'm not printing this. Nobody's buying it. It's not very good. So let's do a really quick edit here just to see what we can do with it. So I am in the develop module right now for Adobe Photoshop Lightroom, and this is their new Lightroom 6. Not too many changes, not too many surprises if you're already a Lightroom user. And the first thing I want to do is bring this foreground up. The Airstream is lost, the grass is lost, so I'm going up here to the right hand side, and I'm grabbing myself a brush. And under the effect, I'm going to dodge and lighten. All that does is I'm painting in a layer here to increase the exposure. And I'm going to make my brush bigger just so I can paint over here. And let's make sure I got my corners. So I'm going pretty quick. We're just brushing the adjustment. Let's see here. Okay, I missed the bottom. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to pull the exposure up just a little bit to brighten things up a little. I'm going to pull the shadows up. So now we've got some of that grass coming in. And actually, I'm going to pull the exposure up just a touch more. Let's see what dealing with the contrast does. I'm also going to warm this area, because I want an evening feel, because it was evening, so I'm warming it a lot. There we go. And I'm also going to punch the clarity up to give some extra edginess to it. So I'm going to clarity 100%. I really, we could move the saturation a bit, but I don't want too much, because saturation is kind of a heavy-handed way to approach stuff. It makes a mess fast. So there we go. We've brought this up a good bit. And let's see, maybe I'll pull the highlights up just a little more. All right, so there's part one. I have now recovered the foreground, and I've actually got the Airstream showing pretty nicely. Part number two, I want to deal with the sky, because I want to make the sky richer and a little more foreboding. So I'm going up here, and I'm making a new mask, and now I'm going to do a burn, which just drops the exposure a bit. I'm going to start up here because I want to paint the sky, but I don't want to affect the Airstream. Now over here, I'm going to make my brush a little bigger, and I'm going to bring it right down to that rich sky area. I'm going to hold that. Okay, I painted pretty good. I missed the edge of the Airstream here. Let's check that out again. So pretty close. This is, once again, a really quick edit. I'm going to drop the exposure on that sky. I'm going to punch the clarity up to really make it pop. I'm going to pull the saturation up just a little more to really richen the colors over the mountains. There we go. And maybe a little more contrast. And I am done with my brush work. I'm feeling pretty happy about this. I'm going to just close the brush by clicking on it again. And now in here, for the main overall image, let's make it even a little more edgy. I'm going to push the overall clarity up even more. Now we've got this kind of really cool, edgy HDR look going on here. So punch the clarity with the brushes, and then punch the clarity for the whole piece. The final thing I'm going to do, I'm getting out of the basic, and I'm just going to go down to my detail, and I'm going to reduce the noise because I've created some noise with these adjustments, but that is looking pretty good. I'm going to close that detail window, and finally I'm going to go up to the crop, and let's say I'm going to make this image for Living in Tin. I have a certain size that I use with Living in Tin, and let's see here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. And so I'm going to go my 16 by 9. I'm going to move that down just a touch, hit that crop. And looking at this, I realized that I actually overdid it on the noise reduction. So I'm going to dial that back a bit because I still want some of that overall edge. So there we go. I'm just going to reduce that back to 0. And I'm going to close the detail window. And so we have taken a severely underexposed image that I wouldn't print or show to anyone, and we've created something interesting. It's not exactly what I created yesterday when I was testing this out, but you know, every pass is a little different. Let's go down here on Lightroom. We're going to hit the YY, and we're seeing the comparison because I had done another one before. But yeah, we've got a major difference going on here from where we started. So I'm going to export this one, and that will be my after image. But as you remember, that first shot, that before image, was terrible. All right, thanks for tuning in, and once again, we will be doing a whole new series on Lightroom for the road on Living in Tin. So you can make adjustments and really bring your images to life while you're traveling the country in your RV as well.